Unless you've been living under a rock recently, you know Tesla's slowly transitioning all their cars to have yoke steering wheels. But as you can see, I have an older model with just a boring old round steering wheel. So right here, I got the yoke steering wheel from Zima Blue, and we're gonna get this thing installed. Now the thing is, I've never done something this invasive in my car before, so I'll let you know how easy it is for a noob like me to do it, so you can see if you can do it yourself. So it comes in this very nicely designed box, very strong and sturdy. Everything's gonna be protected inside. And inside, we're greeted with our instruction manual, so you know exactly what to do to get this thing installed. We also have a double-sided microfiber cleaning cloth to keep everything clean and also to protect your wheel during the installation. And then we have the wheel itself in the bubble wrap. A little bit satisfying. As you can see, everything is very well protected. Now, as you can see, we do have some carbon fiber pieces here, and this is actually real carbon fiber, very light in weight. Over the plastic parts, it's going to attach to the wheel itself. So as you can see, I do have the matte carbon fiber along with the Alcantara finish going around the wheel for this very nice and elegant sporty design. Looks great in my personal opinion, but they also do have different colors and finishes depending on what style you're going for. Going all the way around, it looks very nice. The stitching looks perfect, very well done. We do have the cable here that's going to be for your heated steering wheel, but that's only going to work if your car is already equipped with a heating steering wheel. Mine isn't, so this is just going to be an extra cable. Now you are going to need a couple of tools for this job. You're going to start off with having a ratchet along with an extender, because we do have to be able to get in here. If you just have the ratchet by itself, it's not going to be able to reach in there, along with a 10mm Mel hex bolt so you can actually detach the steering wheel. You're also going to need a T25 screwdriver to unscrew a few screws, 2 small flathead screwdrivers or something similar so you can pop out the airbag through these tiny little holes. And then this is optional, but it's going to make your life a lot easier, some needle nose pliers to pop out a plug. So now there's quite a few precautions we want to take since we're dealing with an airbag before we go and start dismantling the steering wheel. So the main thing we're doing here is we're going to start disconnecting all the power so the airbag doesn't accidentally go off, because that would be a disaster and cause a whole mess of a situation. So we're going to of course start by rolling down our driver's side window. Wow, that was easy. Of course, we're going to make sure we have the front open. Next, we're going to go in the settings menu, tap on safety, scroll all the way down to the bottom and tap power off, and now the car is basically off. Now keep in mind, if you come back and sit in the driver's seat again, the car will turn back on, so just try not to do that.
All right, now that Ryder has disconnected the inside, what we're going to do for extra safety precautions, we're going to disconnect the battery. So anyone who owns a Tesla, we know just to remove this piece here. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to use the 10mm socket to take off the negative terminal of this battery. Now, if you have a different model, it may look a little bit different, but most of them use 10mm. So let's go ahead and take this guy off. You just need to loosen it and pull it off like that. Now you want to, of course, make sure it doesn't touch the positive side. So you can just put it out of the way like that. All right, well, we're under the passenger side of the rear seat, and this is where our connection is in our Model 3. Now, if you have a different model, it may be in a different location, but we're gonna pull this foam off, flick this down, and this will just slide. And this is the disconnection for the high voltage battery. I don't know. Well, I mean, I took the gray thing off.
On, or is it still off? Well, don't close the doors.
Yeah, so it's off.
Well, how the fuck are you gonna put it back?
The emergency open thing.
In the back? There's none in the back.
There is none in the back?
No.
Well, why the fuck would I shut the door?
I don't know. So now this is going to be the most tedious part. We do have these 2 little holes, one on each side. So like I said, this is a bit hard. You got to feel around, sometimes angle it a bit to try to find this metal piece. Okay, I'm going to fake it. Once you hit the spring, it's right here. You can see that it is separating.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, okay, there we go. We got the left side. Oh, there we go, just like that. It took a bit of wiggling around, but we got it. Now be careful, because remember, this is an airbag and it is still connected right here with this little wire, this yellow wire. So you can of course do this with your hand, but needle nose pliers will make this easier. So you see these 2 little buttons here, we're gonna be pressing those in and pulling outward. You can do it by hand, but it should be a bit easier with some needle nose pliers in there. Just like so, get a grip and pull it right on out. Now we have the airbag module out in our hand, and this thing is a lot heavier than I expected, but now we're gonna put it to the side because we will need this later. Next, we're gonna do the same thing with this reddish connector on the left side. Get a nice grip, pull it on out, easy peasy. Next, we're gonna take our 10mm hex bolt, go right here in the middle, get it positioned properly. And this could be hard because it should be very tight. You're gonna wanna hold the wheel steady. You might need to get a bit of leverage because this thing is very tight. Did you get it?
Yeah. I didn't get you.
Okay, funny story. I thought the airbag was the hardest part until I got to this thing. This was tight. How are people's wheels falling off? I will never know. But I think that's as hard as it gets. Continue on. This is the easy part. Just boom, 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 boom. And now at this point, we can just do it by hand. We got this bolt. Don't lose this because we need this for later to put the other wheel on. Next, we're gonna just jiggle off the wheel a little bit. And cool, no steering wheel, guys. Look at this. This is Elon's dream right here. But now we're gonna put on another wheel, which is his other dream. So as you can see, we're inside now and it's time to actually move the internals from the other steering wheel into the yoke so we can get everything installed. This should be a fairly simple process. All right, so next we're gonna be removing the 4 T25 screws. One's here, one's here, one's here, and one's here. So I got all 4 screws out. Some of them were a bit of a process because as you can see, they're covered up, but you can get them out just by bending stuff around. Over here on the back, we're gonna be pushing through these little clips here. There's 2 on each side. Now we're gonna be taking off this entire front plate. Just pop it off. Pop it off. And pop it off. I didn't actually think it would be that easy, but it turns out these steering wheels just come apart. Now we're gonna be able to lift everything out all in one piece, just like so. So now we're gonna take out this airbag tension pin that was so hard to remove the first time. Get it right out of here because we're gonna put it in our yoke. So we're gonna stick it inside our yoke just like so, very easy. So now the problem is this right here requires a T10, but this one and this one plus on the other side is more like a T6 and I don't have anything that small. So I'm gonna have to end up reusing this whole fitment in the yoke, which, you know, isn't the worst thing ever, but you know, it is what it is. So that means we have to remove this part off of the yoke. Should just pop off pretty easily, just like the first time. And you could save this for later. So we're gonna get this face part, push it inside, get it locked into place. Next, we're gonna get our T25 Torque screws installed again. Next, we're gonna push these pins back on through. Right, left, and the bottom. Pretty crazy difference, right? This one just looks so much cooler. All right, so now we're back in the car. It's time to get the yoke actually installed. Don't worry about messing this up because there's only one way to do it because we do have these little grooves here that have to fit right inside those slots. So we just gotta line it on up. Now we're gonna get it locked into place. And as you can see, we are in business. We're gonna attach this cable back just like so. Grab our original bolt, get it threaded inside. Try to get this as tight as we can. You don't want this wheel falling off. That's not within spec, no matter what they try to tell you. All right, and it feels secure, looks good. Not gonna lie, it was a bit hard lining that thing up, but once you got it, it just slides right on. So now the final piece of the puzzle, we're just gonna attach the airbag, clicked into place, get it lined up, and it didn't honk because we don't have any power, but we are locked into place. So now the next step, just reattach all of our power. All right, y'all, I've been driving with this new Zima Blue yoke steering wheel in my Model 3 for about a week now, and I know what I like and what I don't like, what you gotta get used to and all that sort of stuff. So what I do like is the Alcantara finish. It feels great in the hand. In my personal opinion, it definitely beats the leather, especially on a hot, sunny day. Now, as far as the installation went, it was pretty easy, although it was a bit harder to pull off since it was my first time. Now, granted, after doing it the first time, I feel like I could definitely do the job a lot faster and a bit more efficiently if I tried to do it again, because I know exactly where everything is and exactly what to do now. Now, as far as driving with this thing, on a road like this where it's nice and windy, and you're trying to have good control, it's very good. I feel like you have great control with this thing, a lot more than a standard round steering wheel. It feels great in the hands, especially when you're just driving like normal. Now, where things start getting kind of weird and you kind of have to get used to it is when you start making turns, especially something like a U-turn, backing into a space, or even just a 90-degree left or right turn. Because when you're doing this turn, remember, there's nothing up here. So the first day that I had this wheel installed, I kept trying to grab the wheel on the top like I was used to as I was doing the rotation or when it was rotating back to center. And then I was like, well, there's nothing there. But after the first day, I got used to it and remembered that it's not there. So, you know, right now, everything's fine. Now, that being said, as far as turns go, they are a bit more inconvenient to make, if that makes sense, because when you do turn, because the wheel's not round and this wheel is actually a square, basically, when you do make this turn, your arm, I feel like it gets stretched out further, and you do have to kind of go a bit more rotation wise, because effectively as you turn the wheel it becomes a box, and the square that's on the bottom ends up being on the top, so it's going to be pretty much like up to here. For example, when I make this left turn right now, you can see my arm is fully extended to make the full turn, and then it comes back to a little bit of a curve at the elbow. See, I just made that U-turn very easily using both hands, and it was very smooth. One thing that is a bit annoying is because of the square design on the bottom, I have my seat all the way back, and I have the wheel all the way to the front and all the way up as high as it can go. And if my legs aren't all the way down on the pedals, the wheel does have a habit of scraping against my leg and my knee, which can be a bit dangerous in the wrong conditions. So just keep in mind you're not going to have as much space underneath as you do with a standard round wheel because of how wide and square this wheel is. Now, with all that being said, I do really like this wheel, and I'm definitely going to keep it installed. It feels great. I feel like it looks really cool. It's definitely different from a standard round wheel. And when people see it, they're like, whoa, you got an aircraft wheel in there. Like, it just looks awesome, and it feels great, and it works well. Granted, I'm not going to say it's for everybody, so if you're not sure, why not give it a try and see if you like it, because you could surprise yourself. But me personally, I really like having this different sort of steering wheel and the way that it looks, especially with the Alcantara. And as you saw with that turn, very good control. You can, of course, drive with one hand or two, depending on how you do it, but you do get that extra control by driving with two hands just like this, because it, you feel like a race car driver. You're driving, you're like, taking all these sharp turns perfectly with amazing control. Now, one of the immediate things that you will notice once you get this steering wheel installed is just how much more open the cabin feels in general, and how much greater your viewing is from the cabin. You can see your entire dashboard. There's literally nothing in the way. Pretty much just looking as I am right now, I feel like there's not even a steering wheel. I'm just looking straight and there's nothing in the way. I really like that about it. It just has a completely different feeling and vibe to it. It's kind of hard to understand. You have to experience it. And overall, I really like this steering wheel.